Hello there, and welcome into my sports talk show. I'm your host, Achn Jr., joined today by a special guest today on my sports talk show, morning news anchor for KHQA, Heather Healy. How are you doing today, Heather?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm very flattered to be here.
So you graduated from the University of Oklahoma in 2015 with the degree in broadcast journalism. Can you tell me why you wanted to go into this field?
Yeah. So I wanted to go into this field since I was 16 years old. I remember, this is going to sound so corny, but I remember it was during Christmas break. I was a sophomore in high school, and my grandmother and my dad were sitting in our living room. And of course, it's bowl season during that time of year, right? So I remember seeing Erin Andrews, and for some reason, I pointed at her and I was like, "That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that when I grow up." And from then on, that's been a goal of mine. And it's funny how God's path works for everybody. And now I'm here in morning anchoring for a morning show.
You also told me a few years ago back when we got in touch, you interned at ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports up in Connecticut, Bristol.
I did.
Not that far away from where I am.
Yeah. And that was a huge blessing. And that was so fun to do. My background is in radio. So I started my broadcast career when I was 16 years old. So I am from actually the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so a little ways from where you're at. But my high school is known for football, and we won quite a few championships. And I went into my junior year of high school being an intern for my high school football radio broadcast team. And that really opened my eyes to so much. And the team really took me under their wing and really got me inspired on wanting to do sports broadcasting. And I think my favorite part that I did when I was doing that in high school, I loved being on the sidelines. That's the action is right there. You know, you were inches away from that. And I really fell in love with the game that way. And so when I went to the University of Oklahoma, I really worked hard to get to that position. And then right before my senior year of college is when I interned at ESPN, and I was a radio intern, and really kind of coming back to my roots. And it was such a blessing. It was so fun getting to tour all of the studios. I mean, you've toured it too. And it was so cool getting to see, athletes and coaches just randomly walk by, and getting to work with those talents, and getting to get their perspective on things. That's so invaluable. And it's something that I am very grateful for, that I've carried along with my career.
Now, growing up, what was your favorite sports teams? I think you were a Texas Rangers fan. You a Dallas Cowboys fan?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm both of those. Yeah, I am from the Dallas area, so I got to support my teams. Big Cowboys fan. We didn't have that bad of a draft, so I'm okay for right now. And then Texas Rangers, I'm a fan of. Oklahoma Sooners, of course. My parents are Texas Tech Red Raiders, so I'm a big Texas Tech Red Raider fan as well. I don't know how that works out during Oklahoma and Tech Week, but those are my teams that I've rooted for since I was a little girl, and I will continue to do so as well.
Now, are you a Dallas Mavericks fan, or you're not into basketball that much?
Basketball isn't my strong suit. I will support the Mavericks. I'm a Mavericks, and I started my professional broadcast career in Beaumont, just right outside of Houston. So I used to cover the Rockets kind of heavily. So the Rockets partially, and then the Mavs partially. Is that okay to do?
Anything you want to do.
There you go. I like that.
And I know
like that.
When you worked at KFDM, you covered the stealing of the signs, the Houston Astros.
I did. I did. And it irks me that to this day that they got a championship before the Rangers did. But yeah, I did. It's kind of funny, on their journey for their first title. I was there for their opening day, and I didn't realize how exciting and how magical it actually was to be there on an opening day. Because people all the time will say, you know, opening day for the majors, it should be a national holiday. And I was like, oh, you know, okay, whatever. But once I was there on opening day, I'm kind of on board with it. And it was very cool to see just how crazy people are for baseball and how crazy people are for the season. And especially in Houston, after all that they've gone through with Harvey and other storms and things that have gone on down there, for them to come together through that sport and what the Astros kind of meant for them, it was really cool to see.
Except for the Yankees should have went there that year. I argue for that. I'm still upset with that, being a huge Yankees fan up in Massachusetts. I'm
Yeah,
close to,
I'm so sorry. I wish I could have helped you. I'm so sorry.
not your fault, but Altuve heard it from my fans and heard it from me in my living room when he came back.
That's right. I remember that. That was quite the moment in that I will never forget, for sure.
Yep, that was just this past week. We beat them 2 out of 3.
You did.
Dusty Baker, who is a Christian, big faith man. He's in one of my baseball devotional books. He was the only one. He was the only one that didn't get booed. Everybody else got booed.
Hey, there you go. That tells you something.
And the New York fans have great memories. I just didn't like, you can boo, you can slam your trash cans, bring that. I didn't like when the New York fans started swearing at Altuve. I didn't care for that.
Yeah, that's, if you can keep it. I mean, there's a difference between trash talk and a difference between going over that line. So yeah, I agree with you.
The same with the Red Sox fans. They kind of, when Houston comes up to play them, they'll kind of swear at them too. But that's those fans have a mind like a steel trap.
It's crazy how baseball fans, really specifically baseball fans, how crazy they get for their sport and their team.
Now, what was your favorite part in the industry you are right now? What are you doing right now? What's your favorite part of?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow, that's a really good question. I think my favorite part, I love interacting with the community, and I love interacting with fans, and getting to be part of that. And I've met so many great people. I've met so many great coaches and athletes and people in the community that I'm at now doing mornings. And it's been a really big joy to me getting to connect with those people. And I've always said, if I could bring, two people together or bring somebody together through my work, either in sports or mornings or what have you, then it's a job well spent, life well spent. And that's been my number one goal.
Now, you said you interned at ESPN when you were in high school still?
No. When I was a senior in college. So the summer before my senior year, it was, I think from June to late August. It was a dream come true.
What year did you intern there?
I interned there June through August of 2014.
I was there that year. I was
Were
there
ya?
because I have friends that have me hang out there and stuff. So I've been there for a while.
Oh, how about that? Well, we could have ran into each other, just didn't know it.
Yeah. ESPN is a great. Excuse me. ESPN is a great place. I mean, you go there and it's like a little kid going to a candy store.
It really was. And it's funny, my dad, the last day that I was there, one of the last weeks that I was there, he came down because going from Oklahoma to Connecticut, and it was quite the trek. So he got to tour a bunch of the studios, and I remember, do you remember when the Als Ice Bucket Challenge was going on?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the Monday Night Football crew was with Chris Berman and a couple others they were about to do it, and there was a good 4 or 5 of the co-hosts that, I mean, they had to strip down to their swimsuits and do it, and it was that you don't see that every day, so it was quite the that was quite the day for him.
Chris Berman, he was doing so great, and then he had to retire, and now he's back, but he had tragedy with his wife driving and she got into a bad accident and she died.
She did. I think that's sad, but it's good that he's coming through adversity, though. I pray for him and his family, and going through all that. But it's good to see how strong that he is, and I think that he's a good example for going through something like that.
Now, I knew you were friends with a coach. Was it down in Texas when he covered that he invited you for Thanksgiving one year? I heard that on the
Yes.
show. And he
Yeah.
died recently, and you wore your hat, and you were talking about that recently. I believe that was up in Illinois, right? You were talking
Yeah,
about that?
well, it was when I was down in Southeast Texas. When I was doing sports broadcasting, there was a coach that's very, very near and dear to my heart. His name is W.T. Johnston. He was coaching, head coach for the Newton Eagles, and they're a very powerful, very you don't want to mess with team. And they've won a couple championships, and I was very grateful to be able to cover that and be able to cover the team with him. And he and I grew very close. He's very strong in his faith. He was a very big faith mentor to me. And I would talk about, we could talk about not just football and work stuff, but I could talk to him about anything. And I really, part of my faith journey has been through him. And I remember it was his last Thanksgiving. And of course I had to work on Thanksgiving, and I was away from my family, and he called me one night and he said, "Hey, I know you and another reporter who was living with me at the time. He goes, I know you and your roommate are far away from home. Do you want to come to Thanksgiving?" And I said, "Oh, thanks. But I don't want to intrude." He goes, "No, not at all. Come on down." And I'm so glad that I did. And he and his family, I still talk to his wife very often, and his son, who is now the head coach for Newton. It was one of the best Thanksgivings I think I've ever had. And for him to open his doors when he was sick, and when he was going through what he was going through, to open his arms and open his doors on a holiday like that meant so much to me. And I'm so grateful to be able to do that and be able to say that I did that. And again, I still talk with his wife and his family as much as I can. And he had a saying, "Keep your eyes on the cross," and that still stuck with me. That's the hat that I have. That's hanging up by my keys. That every time I walk in the door, that's what I've got, and that's what I see. So it's been very, very comforting, and it was something that I hold near and dear to my heart.
I've wanted to get into this for a while.
Yeah.
That's why I went to UMass Amherst for journalism.
Yeah, that's a great school.
Yeah. And I did it all online. So I didn't have to pay for a bed. I could have my own bed. I could watch the Yankees.
Well, there you go. That's all that matters. That is all that matters.
Now, did you ever cover the Houston Texans?
You know what? I did. I never went to a game, but of course there's highlights on Sundays that I would do. Whenever the draft happened, whenever they drafted Deshaun Watson, I covered that. But I never physically went to a game in Houston. But we definitely covered a bunch of things when it came to the Texans with Bill O'Brien, a couple of other deals as well. We covered the Cowboys a lot down there too. The Cowboys are actually really a big following down in the Southeast Texas area. It's the Texans and the Cowboys. Those are the top two NFL teams that are down there.
Yep, because there's only two teams in Texas.
That's very true. That's correct.
And there's only one man that is friends with, who was friends with the late great George Steinbrenner, was your Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones.
That's right. That's very, very true. Very, very true.
Two men with a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right. You are right on the money there.
Those men, except for George Steinbrenner, the year before he died, they got the Yankees to win the World Series in 2009.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
In the brand new stadium.
Oh, have you gone to the new stadium?
Yeah, in the new stadium. I was fed up after they got rid of Joe Torre. I love Joe Torre.
Yeah.
I was a Dodgers guy for a little bit just because of Torre, but I was still a Yankees fan inside.
There you go. I like that.
But those two men do a lot of. George is dead now. Now Jerry but Jerry and his son do a lot of donating to the community. But those two men had those two men when they were, one's dead now, the other one's alive. But when those two men were alive, they did a lot of stuff together, and they had, between them, they had more money than God.
That's probably right. That is probably right. I wouldn't doubt that.
Oh, but so what was your favorite part up in Illinois now? And isn't that when you found you were on TV and you talked about the coach that died? Wasn't when you were you up in Illinois?
Yeah. So when I came up here, I'm now a morning anchor. I decided I wanted something different. I wanted something new because I've been doing sports since I was 16 years old. So I've been doing it for 10 years. So at the time, and I wanted to do something fresh, something new, something different. I thought, hey, how about mornings? You got to wake up at 2 a.m. But other than that, that's the difference. But other than that, it's something just fresh and new. I think something that I needed. And when I got to talk about the Keep Your Eyes on the Cross, that hat, and I got to talk about Coach Johnston, I asked his wife first if I could do it, just to make sure. And the outpouring response that I got from that was so humbling. It was so, it brought tears to my eyes, how many people really came across and said, oh my gosh, thank you for saying that story. Thank you for telling that story, because it really reached so many people. And I didn't realize how much it reached until I got all those responses. And it really just really solidified what I'm doing really is making an impact.
Now, what's your favorite part of being in Chicago? Not Chicago, Illinois. How close are you from Wrigley Field and also the White Sox Stadium up in Chicago?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm in Champaign, Illinois. So I am where the University of Illinois is located. So I'm 5 minutes away from that. But from Chicago, I'm about 2 hours away. So, and I haven't gone to a Cubs game yet. I haven't gone to a Sox game yet. I would love to, though. Things are starting to open up a little bit because of COVID restrictions. So I would love to go to one of those every now and then on the morning show. If there's something cool that the Cubs do or something neat that the Sox do, we'll plug that in on the morning show. I think it was a couple weeks ago we had a cool, fun little video in the Cubs dugout that somebody got some sort of kitchen appliance. I don't know what it was. I don't remember if it was something kind of awful. Oh, it was a waffle maker. It was a waffle maker. Somebody got a waffle maker for some reason. And we had to show it for the morning show because in Illinois, I mean, all you got Cubs, you got Cardinals, and you got Sox fans. So you gotta spread the wealth, and you gotta share those every now and then.
And the Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals are kind of bitter rivals in the Mid-Central, kind of like the East Coast between the Yankees and Red Sox, or the West Coast between the Dodgers and Giants.
Exactly. And I didn't realize how big of a matchup or how big of a rivalry it was till I actually came here. We actually had when I was growing up, we had neighbors across the street that were big Cardinals fans. And they were like, oh, don't talk to us whenever the Cubs are playing us. And we're going, okay. Because in Texas, you really don't know. And then I come up here and I mean, you're either Cubs or you're Cardinals. There is no in between. So you had to make that decision real quick. But yeah, it's that was cool kind of to see that dynamic with the major leagues up here.
Yep. And it's kind of interesting. Now it's just not the Giants and Dodgers. The Padres have improved with Mr. Machado, Manny Machado.
That's right. That's right. I saw that. And then who was it on the Los Angeles on the Angels? It's somebody who's about to go in. Forgive me. It's somebody who's about to go into. I know who it is.
Albert Pujols.
Yes, I thought that was crazy that they didn't renew his stuff.
Yeah, but Pedro Martinez, who is I've read in my devotional book, Big Strong Christian. I saw a post on Instagram. He said, Albert, he said, I'm glad you know God and you know it's God's path for you. and a
That's
lot
right.
of people are upset about that. But he's cleared waivers, and that maybe Yadier Molina will get him to go back to the Cardinals.
Maybe. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. We'll see.
Then you have Grandpa Tony now Tony La Russa coming back, a Hall of Fame guy, and he leaves the Hall of Fame, which he's still in the Hall of Fame, but you're a Hall of Fame manager. You decided to go back and coach the White Sox.
That's right. So that's a lot of moving parts that are going on in the major leagues, and a lot of crazy things that are happening that you might not know what's going on now, but it'll make sense at one point.
And he thought he's thinking about Albert Pujols coming back, and he thought about the White Sox signing him, but he said there's no room for him on the White Sox with all the young talent.
That's right. There is a bunch of young talent. You got to think about the youngins that are coming up. You got to think about the young people that are coming up. You rather have a young one than an old one, because of the speed and agility. So yeah.
Somebody that might sign him if it's not St. Louis. I could see the Yankees signing him or the Red Sox, but if he comes to the Yankees, he better be clean shaven.
That's right. I like that. That's a good answer.
That's the only team they allow a mustache. That's about all.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Yeah, that's a good point, to just keep it clean. That's all you got to do.
Yep. And now, what was your favorite part of growing up a Texas Rangers fan?
I love going to the ballpark. It used to be, it's had so many names, but it used to be the ballpark in Arlington. I've gone there since I was a little girl. And I love that in every single home run, they have that special music that no other MLB team has. And they have fireworks every single time. That was my favorite. And now they have the Globe Life Park, which is super neat. So I haven't gone there yet. I would love to go soon whenever I go back home. But I would love to go to Globe Life Park to experience that new park. It's now got the worst part about the ballpark in Arlington was whether it was May, June, July, it's 100 degrees until it's November in Texas. Okay. So you're sitting there, and no matter where you're at, I mean, in that it didn't have a retractable roof. So it is miserable for 3 months out of the year if you don't have any cloud cover. So now at Globe Life Park, the new one, it's got a retractable roof. So you are comfortable, you are good for the rest of the season. So that's what I'm looking forward to most for the new one.
But also, if it's raining or storming like it does in Texas all the time, they can close the dome. But what was funny is your ballpark was home of the World Series, and that was the first time they had fans at a game. The National League Championship game against the Braves were the first time they had fans, and most of them were Dodgers fans in Texas at your ballpark. And the World Series was there, which I was so happy when the Dodgers won, because the Dodgers haven't won in so many years, and they got cheated out in 17. And they possibly could have got cheated out by the Red Sox in 18. Not 100% sure there.
Yeah, well, you err on the side of caution of that. But yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. I've been up since 2 a.m. So thanks for letting me know. But yeah, I think that that was really cool to see. And there was also a bunch of high school graduations. My high school football team, they actually played a couple playoff games in that stadium too, which is kind of different having football in a baseball stadium, but it worked, and it was kind of neat to see that too. So there's been a bunch of things in that stadium already. We got to get the Rangers on board to get a bunch of wins, and we'll be okay.
I collect different World Series DVDs. I collect all the Yankees. I have the Diamondbacks one, the full games, and I got the Cubs one in 16. I got the Dodgers one from last year. But I have the year when the Giants beat your Rangers, and I have the year when the Rangers should have won and they blew it, and St. Louis won. I watched those games, so I understand how misery was. And both years I wanted the Texas Rangers to win.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I tend to try to forget those games, but thank you for reminding me. I appreciate that.
And what was funny is Tony La Russa is up in Illinois now, Chicago.
Yeah.
He was the guy that beat you. Albert Pujols was on the team then. Lance Berkman. a bunch of guys.
Yeah, we actually my grandfather caught a Lance Berkman foul ball. And we actually have that frame. We have it in a we don't have it framed, but we have it in a case for that's in his office. And so that's his prized possession is that Lance Berkman ball.
Have you ever, when you were a little girl and used to go to the games, you ever wait for autographs?
You know what? I think I did at the very beginning, and then I think because I was so little, we were so tired, I wanted to go home. But yeah, I think for a couple of times we did. I couldn't tell you, to be honest, which ones I've gotten, but we did. I think once or twice.
I got A-Rod a couple of years ago before he retired. Great guy.
Yeah, how about that?
And I got another spiritual. A-Rod, I don't think is spiritual, not yet, but I got a spiritual, really into his faith, Aaron Judge.
Yes, you know what? I'm a big fan of Aaron Judge. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a pretty big. I like what I've seen a couple of interviews with him, and I kind of like his persona. I kind of like what he's throwing out there and what he's all about. I'm kind of a big fan of that.
A lot of girls are fans of him.
Well, sorry. Yeah. Well, then I guess I'll just join the club. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I met him at McCoy Stadium the week before he was called up in 2016 when A-Rod retired, and him and Tyler Austin were called up and they hit a home run in the same game. I met him down there. I says, can you sign? Can you sign? He finally signed I had official Major League Baseballs. He signed one. And I says, can you sign? I says, I'm a friend of the security guys for the Yankees. And he laughed, but those guys are friends of mine. The ones that work for the team themselves to travel, they know me. And you probably can see now, being my friend on Facebook, why I could run for mayor.
Probably. Yeah, that might be in your future. Don't ever rule that out.
Yeah. But I have a lot of deep faith that I'll end up working at ESPN. I'm just going up the ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great goal to have and a great thing that you're doing for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Heather.
Yeah.
I'll let you go so you can go get some rest for the rest of the day.
No, if you have any other questions for me, let me know. It's Friday, so I mean I can sleep anytime.
You home today?
I am. I just so my schedule is I wake up at 2 a.m. and then I go into our studio, and then I do some producing, and and then I get dressed. Trust me, this doesn't happen overnight. I'm telling you that right now. And then we do our show from 5 to 7 a.m. And then after the show is done, I do a couple other things in studio, and then I come home and I'll do Zoom interviews and do some content for the evening shows. And then I'll sleep and see if I'm up for anything else.
Now, being in this industry, and forget the sports, that it's news now. Being in this industry and your faith, how does that work? Because you must try to lean on your faith in this industry, being a news anchor, because you hear all kinds of, that one got murdered, that person got shot. It's not like being a sports anchor. How do you lean on your faith with that?
Oh, that's a really good question. For me, if it weren't for my faith, I wouldn't be who I am today or where I am today. And it can be depressing and it can weigh on you. A lot of it is pandemic. A lot of it is a lot of it is also the news changes every day when it comes to stuff like that. And then there's a shooting here, there's a death here, so you really have to rely on your faith, have a good, strong relationship. I have a good, strong relationship in the Lord Jesus Christ. And I pray a lot. And then whenever you're at work, you're at work. And whenever you're not, you're not. I've had to learn to really, and I'm still learning to leave that stuff at the door whenever you come home, because you can't carry all that stuff with you, because if you do, it's not going to be a good situation for you. And that's something that I've had to learn and had to evolve with. People deal with things differently, but for me, the best thing for me is to keep that relationship strong and to leave all that at the door whenever you come home, and whenever work is done, work is done. So, and then you've got to focus on you. So that's really been the number one thing for me. And it's been a learning experience. And then trying to get enough sleep, that has been the hardest part. But But having a good combination that's what's got me through.
Now, what's your favorite team that might be like a minor league team, baseball team, or a minor league basketball team that you would like to see if you were up in Chicago?
A minor league team. Oh, that's a great question. I'm honestly, you're gonna think I'm crazy. I'm not very versed in minor league teams. Could you give me a couple of examples?
Minor, like the AAA affiliate, like the Worcester. They used to be the Paw Sox. Now they're up in Worcester Woo Sox. That's
Yeah,
the AAA team of the Red Sox, and that's where they get called up or sent down if they're rehabbing. Or the Strandon Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, the Yankees
right.
team, minor league
Okay.
team.
Yeah. Maybe the minor league team I was a big fan of the minor league team for the Mets because Tim Tebow was on it, and Tim Tebow knocked it out of the park. I'm a big fan of Tim Tebow, so and I know that he's causing some controversy with the Jaguars, but I think that I was a big fan of that, so I would love to see that. And I know he retired from baseball in February, but yeah, I would love to see that.
I think he planned to retire because Urban Myers, I think, knew he was getting the job down there. And Urban Myers, I believe, was a deep man of faith too.
Yeah, well, he was the head coach of Florida when Tim was the head coach, or when Tim was quarterback at Florida, and they won a championship. So why, for me, I'm looking at all the stuff, and I'm reading articles and stuff. Why wouldn't you want to try and get back with your head coach? And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you guys had a great championship run, if you guys had a great relationship, and you know what works, why wouldn't you want to try that? That's what I would think. And I know it's not quarterback. I know he's trying out for tight end for that position. And I think he's built for it. I think that he's a great addition, and he'd be a great fit for a tight end.
Yep. And also, Tim Tebow also played with Aaron Hernandez and also the Pouncey brothers.
That's right.
One that plays for the Steelers, and what the heck does the other one play down south?
Yeah, I think I don't remember what team, but I know which one. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he plays for
I just
the
don't remember
Steelers.
what team.
The other one plays for the Steelers. I'm trying to think what the other one.
Right, one plays for the Steelers, and the other one, I don't remember which team he plays for, but I know who you're talking about though. And
then you have Uncle Tom Brady this year, 2021. Doing
well, and then I forgot the one of the first opening games is Cowboys and Buccaneers are facing off.
And I'm a Patriots fan, but I'm not that happy what they did to Brady. So I'll be hoping that the Buccaneers win.
Okay, there you go.
No offense to you.
Well, no, I think the opposite, but that's all right. But no, that should be a really interesting game on the first week of the NFL.
Yeah, and then week 4. Uncle Tom and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go to verse, and one of my friends laughed when I said this, verse Grandpa Bill and the Patriots.
I love that. That'll be a very interesting game. And then I saw the other day that tickets for that game for the nosebleed section, I think the cheapest seats were $1,500 for that game so far, and it's only May.
Hey, if I knew Jerry Jones, I could get a good seat because he has
that's
more money
right.
than
Well,
God.
if I knew him, I'd let you know. How funny! I love that.
Yep, and you should see all the celebrities I'm friends with. You've seen them on Facebook.
Yes, they gave you a bunch of birthday messages. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Yeah, my birthday was in October.
Yeah, well, I'm 7 months ahead.
Yeah. You'll probably be doing that again. You like doing that, remember?
Yeah, I did. That was very sweet of you to ask.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, I'll let you go. Hope everybody has a great rest of their Friday day and night, and hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks for coming on, Heather.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too.